Good morning, dear children. As you can see on your screen, our topic for today is from your English reader book, Poem 3, The Shed by Frank Flynn. So, before starting with the poem, let us read something about the poet. Francis Stanislaus Frank Flynn was born on December 6, 1906 in Sydney, and he lived till 29th July 2000. Was a Northern Territory based Australian doctor. What kind of doctor? Ophthalmologist for eyes. He was an author and missionary priest as well. He is notable for his contributions to religion, medicine, and aboriginal welfare. So, let's start with the poem. In the stanza 1, the poet here says that these lines are taken from your poem The Shed. The poet in these lines is describing a shed that is at the bottom of his garden. At the bottom of the garden there is a shed. Hardly anybody goes inside this shed. Therefore, the hinges or the door joints have become rusty and make a lot of noise whenever the wind makes them move. Usually, whenever in our surrounding area, if there is any place which is closed for a while, means for a very long time, and nobody goes there, what happens? The metal and all, it gets rusty, and if even a small uh, gust of wind it blows nearby, what happens? That metal, it makes some noise. So in that same way, in this poet's garden also there is a shed which hardly nobody goes inside that shed, and because of that, what happened? The joints have become rusty and makes a lot of noise. When the poet is peacefully lying in the bed, he sometimes hears noises from the shed. The poet, he wishes to be able to open the door of the shed some day and go inside to see what lies behind that door. In the second stanza, the poet says that the poet actually discusses how he wishes to stare inside the shed. The shed actually has a dusty old window on its side. On one side of the shed there is a dusty old window. Three glass panes of the windows are broken. Whenever the poet passes through the shed, he gets the feeling as if someone was staring at him. Usually, we also feel the same whenever we go around somewhere which is very old and nobody goes inside, but there is a small hole from where we can peep inside. What we feel like, maybe some ghost is there inside, maybe somebody is staring at me. Right, in the same way, the poet also, he gets the feeling that someone was staring at him. To find out, the poet wishes to peep inside the shed. He wants to have a glance, he wants to see what's there inside the shed. Third stanza, the poet explains about the brother. The poet's brother talks about the presence of the ghost inside the shed and warns the poet that if he went inside the shed, the ghost would chop off his head. Usually, our elders, usually they do so. So, as to keep us away from that kind of place, what will they say? They'll just make up some kind of story. So, in the same way, poet's brother also made up some stories and told him about the presence of the ghost inside the shed, and warns also by saying that if you go inside the shed, what will happen? The ghost, it will chop off your head, means it will cut off your head. However, this does not much frighten the poet. He still wished to one day step inside the shed and see for himself whether this all is real or not. Next stanza, last stanza, the poet says that now the poet is able to overcome his fears. Means till now, actually, whenever the poet he crossed that way, he was always scared, and that feeling frightened him that somebody is staring him from inside the shed. He wanted to go inside the shed. He was very eager to see what lies behind that door, what is inside the shed, whether really there is any ghost or not. He was scared. But now the poet is saying that till now, whatever that scary imagination he was having, he has overcome all of that, and now he has overcome his fear. So what he will do now, he is able to understand that there is no ghost inside the shed. He understands that there is actually nobody inside the shed who stares at him or make those strange noises. The spider too is no longer there. His brother had been telling him lies because he wanted to retain the shed for his own self. Because brother, he wanted to keep the shed for himself only, he cooked up different stories and told the poet so that he can stay away from there. Therefore, very soon the poet would be able to set in foot inside the shed because now he has overcome his fear. However, he says that this can't happen immediately. It will take some time, but for sure one day I'll go inside the shed to see what is happening there, what is inside there. So this is what the poet he is trying to tell us about a shed which is there in the bottom of his garden. Before, he was scared to see also what lies behind the door because of that noises that the hinges and the joints of the door it used to make. And because it was not used for a long time, their spiders also they made their web over there, and it looked so scary. You can imagine by what this poem lines are there, that the hinges are rusty and creak in the wind means they are rusty and they make some sound when the wind it blows. Now the glasses also, the window is also broken, so whenever you cross through, obviously nobody lives inside, so there is no light or no electricity inside, it is always dark, so you feel like maybe somebody is watching me. Because of the stories we hear from our childhood, we have that kind of imagination, right? And also over to that, because nobody goes there, it is dark, the windows are broken, the hinges that make sound, the spider also they have made their web over there. And over to that, now poet's brother also said that there is a ghost inside the shed. Obviously the boy will be scared, so he was frightened, but still, because he did not believe any of this, still he was scared, but he wanted to see what is inside the shed. He overcome his fears, and after overcoming his fears, he said that yes, there is nothing inside, nobody is inside, nobody is looking at me, nobody is staring at me, and also the spider has gone from there, the web is also not there anymore, and I definitely am going to go inside very soon and see what lies behind that door. I'll definitely go, but not now, but not very soon. Maybe he's still afraid a little, so he is still trying to make himself strong from inside and outside both, and preparing himself to go inside the shed. So, this is what the poet tells us about the shed in this poem. I believe that you all understood this poem. Uh, just go through the poem, those lines again, read it out loud, and listen to this video again and again so that you can understand what actually the poet is trying to explain here. Notes and assignments will be provided to you. I believe that you all are learning very well as you are in home. Utilize your time so that when you get back to school, we can discuss all these things, whatever we are teaching you through our video classes, online classes. It can be beneficial for you all. Till then, take care.